Hi, my name is Tom Delgado, and I'm a New York City tour guide, certified. Thank you very much. And I'm going to give you 5 tips on, as tourists and visitors, how to enjoy the city better, and also how to not piss people off. Generally speaking, you should remember that New York City is not a theme park. I know that you may disagree, especially when you see the 346 Mickey Mouses and Elmos in Times Square, but this place was not built from scratch to benefit or to amuse an admissions-paying public. Okay, it is a city. It is a functioning, messy, chaotic city where people live and work. Okay, when you are in Greenwich Village, you are not in NBC Friendsland. When you are at the World Trade Center, you are not at 9/11 World. Side note, both of those hypothetical theme parks sound equally horrible. You are in the backyard of 8.5 million people, okay? So act like it, because if you back in your hometown of Frankfurt or Buenos Aires or Baghdad, I don't know where tourists come from, if you had a ton of people in your front yard dressed in capri pants, sunburned, wearing neon shoes, looking at maps, you would want them to behave as well. So here are 5 tips to enjoy the city better and not piss people off. Tip number 1, keep walking. Don't stop in the middle of the street or the stairs. I understand you have to go through your fanny pack to find hand sanitizer because the city's so dirty. Or you have to take a picture so you can post it and make your 146 Twitter followers or Instagram followers jealous. Fine, just do it off to the side. There is literally a spot at every single building on the wall where you can take your picture or look through your fanny pack and no one will bump into you. Okay? And if that doesn't work for you, there is literally a spot on most United flights out of New York City and no one will miss you. Tip number 2, don't photograph people without their permission. People in New York are not animals or monkeys at a zoo, all right? Although they may act like it sometimes by throwing shit. These are people who are working and trying to do their day-to-day tasks, okay? And look, I understand it's partly the fault of the United States for, permeating this culture of narcissism and egotistical behavior and materialism where you want to take pictures of everything you do or see so everyone can see it. Fine, that's our bad, okay? But we realize that we're, pretty captivating subjects and intelligent and captivating, okay? But respect our privacy. Tip number 3, tip people. Welcome to American capitalism, baby! USA, USA. Here in the United States, we have carved out a nice cushy exception for employers called tipping. All right? It basically moves the responsibility of payroll partly to the general public by making us responsible for paying part of everyone's salary in certain fields. I understand this isn't something you're used to, okay? But it's very important. Now, think of it as voting with your dollar. It's supposed to encourage better service. It doesn't always, but you kind of have to do it because otherwise hundreds of thousands of waiters would starve to death. And that would be a really, really ugly scene here in the United States. Just like I said, think of it as voting with your dollar. For example, if you see someone playing music in the subway and you like it, don't just take their picture and not give them anything. Tip them. You want to see more of those people? Tip them. It encourages more of those people to be out there. That's how it works. That's a pet peeve of mine too. If you're going to take a picture with a performer, give them some money. Okay, they're not just a tree. All right, they're a human being who's dedicated a lot to that craft. What's $1 to you? Give them something. Tip number 4, avoid franchises. I understand this is getting harder to do because there are franchises everywhere in New York. But believe it or not, franchises didn't always feel at home here for a reason, because small businesses have always been important to New York and people have preferred them, but that is changing, unfortunately. We have to support small businesses because they are the lifeblood of the community feeling of New York. These people who own these restaurants and businesses live in the neighborhoods. They are invested in the continuation and the survival of the neighborhoods, as opposed to a franchise where the person who makes the most money off a business is in some mansion or corporate office thousands of miles away. That's a very different thing, okay? Because you don't want New York to turn into Anytown, USA. Believe me, Anytown, USA is terrible, all right? People hang out at the McDonald's parking lot. I know this because I used to do that. We used to pull our cars into the parking lot, open our doors, and just blare Ludacris. I know it sounds kind of cool, but it gets real old real fast, okay? So instead of going to Shake Shack, which has already turned into a huge franchise, go somewhere else. Go to a mom and pop shop somewhere. Besides, you'll probably be getting a Shake Shack in less than a year in your hometown anyway. All right? But if you have to go to Shake Shack, I guess get the crinkle fries. They're pretty good. Tip number 5. If you're going to bring your kids, show them the real New York. Personally, I think New York is a tough city for kids because it's a lot of history, it's a lot of walking, and kids under 13, they can't take that stuff in. But if you're going to bring them, all right, take them to places like the Bronx Zoo, Coney Island, Ray's Candy Shop, things that are integral to the existence of New York, not something that they can get anywhere else. Don't take them to the M&M store. There's M&Ms in literally every store in the world. Why would you do that? There's only so many minutes you can be in that place before starting to doubt the probability of humanity's survival. It is a nightmare. And look, be careful, because some kids, they just won't like New York. You should know your kids well enough to know that, so go somewhere else. Or, leave them at home, leave them with the babysitter or their iPad, okay, and just, I don't know, be careful, because if you do bring them, they're going to taint your mature adult experience of the city. I said taint. Okay, so look, just give them a promise that you'll take them somewhere kids like next year. Like Orlando or Hawaii or Kabul. I don't know where, kids like to go. Now you're ready to enjoy the city without getting yelled at. Congratulations. And I understand you may have some complaints about what I just said. If you do, there is a New York City Department of Consumer Affairs complaint department. You can visit it. It's behind the Port Authority bus terminal in Midtown. It's open from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. every single day. It's outside near the dumpsters. Just look for anyone walking around not wearing shoes or a shirt and yelling at themselves. Feel free to give them any of your complaints. Thanks.